police knocked at my door at midnight, asking about my missing husband. But my husband was sleeping right next to me. It was a stormy night. Thunder echoed across the empty streets as I sat on the couch sipping tea. My husband, Rahim, had already gone to bed after watching his favorite crime show. Everything was calm until I heard 3 slow knocks on the main door. Tuk, tuk, tuk. I checked the clock, 12:07 a.m. My heart skipped a beat. Who would knock at this hour? When I opened the door, 2 police officers stood outside, rain dripping from their coats. One of them looked nervous. "Ma'am, we're here about your missing husband, Mr. Rahim." For a second, I just stared at them, confused. "My husband isn't missing," I said, pointing behind me. "He's sleeping inside." But when I turned back toward the bedroom, the bed was empty. The blanket was still warm. The window was open, and the curtains moved softly with the wind. I called his name. "Rahim?" No reply, only the faint hum of the storm. The officers stepped inside, flashlights cutting through the darkness. "When was the last time you saw him, ma'am?" I frowned. "Just 10 minutes ago. He was right there, watching TV with me." One of the officers shone his light across the room and stopped, on a photo frame. It was our wedding picture, but Rahim's face was scratched out, deep marks all over his face, like someone had carved it with a blade. "Who did this?" I whispered. The younger officer looked at me, confused. "Ma'am, this picture was in our case file. Your husband disappeared 7 years ago, after he murdered you." I felt dizzy. "What are you talking about?" I said. "I'm right here. I'm alive." The older officer stepped closer, his face pale. "Then who opened the door?" At that moment, the lights flickered. The house suddenly felt freezing cold. From the hallway came a sound, slow footsteps. Tap, tap, tap. I turned. There stood Rahim, drenched, pale, his eyes completely black. He smiled. "Didn't I tell you? I'd always come back for you?" The officers screamed and ran toward the door, but it slammed shut on its own. The lights went out, and all I could hear was Rahim whispering behind me. "You shouldn't have opened the door." The next morning, the neighbors saw police cars outside my house, doors open, lights still flashing. But inside, there was no one. No police officers, no Rahim, and according to the town records, that house had been abandoned for 7 years. It was a stormy night. Thunder echoed as I sat on the couch sipping tea. My husband Rahim had already gone to bed. Then, tok, tok, tok! 3 slow knocks on the door. I checked the clock, 12:07 a.m. 2 police officers stood outside, drenched in rain. "Ma'am," one said, "we're here about your missing husband, Mr. Rahim." I frowned. "What?" "My husband isn't missing. He's sleeping inside." But when I turned toward the bedroom, the bed was empty. The blanket was still warm. The window wide open. "Rahim?" I called out. Only silence. The officers stepped in, flashlights sweeping the room. One stopped at our wedding photo. Rahim's face was scratched out. "Ma'am," the officer whispered, "this photo's in our file. Your husband disappeared 7 years ago, after he murdered you." I froze. "That's impossible. I'm right here." The older officer's voice trembled. "Then who opened the door?" The lights flickered. Cold air filled the room. Tap, tap, tap. Slow footsteps echoed from the hallway. Rahim stood there, pale, drenched, eyes black. He smiled. "Didn't I tell you? I'd come back for you?" The door slammed shut. The lights went out. And behind me, he whispered, "You shouldn't have opened the door." And next morning, the police cars were still outside. But the house was empty. And according to town records, no one had lived there for 7 years.